Right, looking at socio-cultural explanations of stress. Really what we're trying to explain is why are some people more at risk for chronic stress and stress-related problems than others, and why do some people get more stressed? We're looking at status primarily in our socio-cultural explanation. Another little tip, remember that this will also could be applied for the prevalence. Why is stress more prevalent in some groups than others? And it could be about status or ACEs or social support. These are the three lessons. I love this photo. I actually paid some money to the photographer to be able to have permission to use it. I think it does a very good job of showing inequalities. So just be mindful of not replicating this image, I think, to respect their photographer. Okay, how and why does social status? We're looking at subjective social status. Now, if you like the famous Whitehall studies that are mentioned in Stress: Portrait of a Killer and the animal studies with the Sapolsky and the baboons, check out the Lost Lessons. If we look here in the files, go Lost Lessons. We have Stress Response, Animal Studies, and the Whitehall studies. I removed those from the final edition because I thought that I wanted to focus on studies particularly about teenagers. So now, I would recommend, of course, getting the flashcards. I think they're a great way for students to study. And if you have them printed out at the beginning of the unit, they're a really effective way for students to be regularly revising and reviewing and revising. I'm just trying to I printed out all of my flashcards yesterday, and I'm going to try to find them here. Sorry, this is not that effective. Where did I put them? Oh. Okay. Anyway, if you have them in a stack, and then you can whenever you like, if you've got downtime or for students to extend them, they can be using those flashcards. A reminder as well, they don't need to remember everything in the flashcards, right? They're going to select which studies carefully. You could do this whole unit for paper 2 in 8 studies, I think I counted, maybe even 7. And so they can just pick and choose which ones they do. All right, think, pair, share. Who's more stressed, Elon Musk or the people in the factory? Basically, this is like, is it the higher or lower status people? Why do they think that? And there's some chalk and talk stuff here as well. Okay, there's if you like, you can watch the clips here from the Whitehall studies. I think these are pretty valuable. Okay, so there's some space here for I like these problem solvings, like give some students some facts and then try to figure out, okay, can they come up with an explanation? There is the notes here in the workbook. Now, I don't know, you probably don't want to replicate this. This is the subjective social status scale, the MacArthur scale that they use, but I put it in the workbooks here just for students to do if they want to check it out and try it themselves, but obviously comparing, there's ethical issues with that, so I leave all that up to your discretion. Okay, who do they think is more stressed? Think, pair, share. Okay, and then they can find the answer to this question. It's really pretty basic. Who's more stressed? Lower status people, and then that's the how, and then the why is we get into Rahul's study with the stress response. Apologies for the vacuum cleaner in the background. A note on this how and why. Everyone has different ways that they would try to answer these questions, and it doesn't really matter as long as they can give reasons. That's it really. But I just try to distinguish it, saying how is saying, okay, this affects this. Low status people are more stressed, and there's a lot of studies that show that. And that's where most students end, and I feel like most psychology resources just give students that basic information. Low status equals more stress, but they don't give the why. Okay, why do people have lower status, more stress? So anytime I'm asking how and why, the how is just, okay, what is the connection? Low status, high stress. That's simple. And then the why is, give me a reason for it, just so you know. What I would encourage as well for students is to avoid giving the summaries of the results of studies in these guiding question answers here. The space is not for giving information of studies, it's for the analysis of the explanation itself. Why is status linked with stress? And then because they can use the flashcards to revise, and they can use their notes to revise all the studies, and all the information of the studies is in the book itself. It's really the explanations that are key. Again, that's what most students miss out on in their exams. They just summarize studies, but they actually don't explain anything. So that's just a tip. This exit ticket is just an idea. I did this with my summer school recently. I just asked, what's your favorite song right now? And they all wrote down on a piece of paper. And then that night I went home and I listened to their songs, and I got a couple of ones that I like out of it. And it gave me something to talk about the next day, and a little thing that helped me connect with them a bit more, which And I think it also just showed that I was taking an interest. So anyway, this best and worst, it's nothing to do with psych, just a way you can connect with students. All right, next up, we're looking at ACEs.